Hello there again, everybody. This is going to be Jund Shadow, League number 3. This list is a straight copy-paste of a recent 5-0. I'll go ahead and show that person's deck list to assign credit. It's by Zio Francone. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And this is the exact list as I mentioned, so not my own creation. Yep, there's Boyle. We're playing 2 copies of Boyle to hate out the Uro decks, presumably. Playing things like Kozilek's Return. The Devoid on Kozilek's Return, very important to kill the stuff that has protection from red, which there's a lot of in the green-white combo deck. Playing Heliod. Wildfire for some lands. This person was playing an Ancient Grudge, so I'm going to be playing an Ancient Grudge. If we need additional threats, we've got Kroxa, and we've got some good anti-graveyard tools, as well as some nice 2-for-1 type cards and catch-alls versus various mid-range and control decks. And then, of course, we're going to be companioning Luris. We've got I think a 16 creature threat package. We've got the full set of all Tarmogoyf, Scourge of the Skyclaves, Monastery, Swiftspear, and of course Death Shadow. I'm going to be playing 7 1-mana disruption spells, 4 Thoughtseizes over the 3 Inquisitions, obviously favoring Thoughtseize because it helps the shadows out, in addition to it just being able to take literally anything. Playing the Lightning Bolts. Bolts you don't really see a whole lot of in non-Scourge of the Skyclave shadow decks, but you really need to get the opponent substantially low for the Scourge to be large, since the power and toughness is set by the highest of both life totals, so bolting the opponent will pretty often be a +3/+3 on the Scourge. And then we're playing 2 copies of Wrenn and 6. On top of being just an excellent grindy tool, it can help us make sure that the fetch shocks keep on coming to keep on growing our Scourges and our Shadows. And then we're playing 1 copy of Seal of Fire, just as another way to damage the opponent directly, and it's also a cute little combo with Luris, because of course it costs 2 or less, and we can recast it from the yard. And then our removal package, not including the stuff in the sideboard like Trophy and K-Command, is just the 4 pushes and the single copy of Dismember. And to push through that extra damage if we really need it, we've got 2 copies of Temur Battle Rage. And that's about it. So let's take a look at the current Modern metagame. Uro/Omnath still in first, as it has been for months. Rakdos Shadow is just ahead of Heliod Company, and then we've got various prowess decks in the rest of the top 15. Here we see Jund. Not Jund Shadow, but good old-fashioned Jund. Oops All Spells. So here's just Shadow. This is what we're doing today. And then just more Uro piles, Primeval Titan decks. And not a whole lot of straight mid-range, but a good amount of control. Uro Omnath, obviously one of the best control decks. Temur Uro, arguably control deck. Sultai Uro, pretty similar. But yeah, we've got some extra combo decks. Modern has I think the number of combo decks we've seen has kind of been reduced over the past few months, and I think that's a consideration of the best decks. Being like Uro Cryptic Command decks, and Cryptic Command and the cards that usually accompany it are pretty good versus combo. But nonetheless, we've got stuff like Heliod Company, Ad Nauseam, Hammer Time, a combo deck, and Oops All Spells, a combo deck as well. So combo coming back. Alright, so let's just go ahead and jump into the league. Yeah, Sand's fine. Lots and lots of hand disruption. We're just looking for a threat, really. And I could use the bubble now to get a little extra information on what I should Thoughtseize. Bobbling myself doesn't really change what I'm doing here because I'm going to be fetch shocking anyway. I could have played Blood Crypt, but I like taking a land out of the deck, and like this Bobble is going to be able to combo with something later anyway. Alright, so we've got Blood Crypt. I guess this is probably going to get another Blood Crypt, so I'll get the Tomb now. I don't see myself wanting to cast a red spell next turn. Alright, and I'll just lead on the Thoughtseize. Wow, okay, so we were playing against Melira Company, it looks like. So I'll take the bird to slow down, and then we can Inquisition Thoughtseize next turn to leave the opponent with Stone Cold nothing. And then I'll just go ahead and cast this and say go. Swift Spear, not bad. So I think I want to get down a threat now. So I guess that was the reason to not quite play the Bobble yet. I could have drawn exactly Swift Spear. So I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to shock the Blood Crypt. If I draw a push, there may be some corner case where I want to have Revolt off of the Wooded Foothills. So I'll shock this, play the Swift Spear, and then between Thoughtseize and Inquisition, I'll just do the Inquisition. I'll be able to do everything next turn if I draw a shadow anyway, so I don't really think there's a need to flip this. And then Thoughtseize obviously catches a wider variety of stuff, so I think the Thoughtseize is probably best played second when I'm really going to be taking a 2 or 3 drop here. Alright, so how much do I care about Wall of Roots? This Thoughtseize is almost definitely intended for the Chord of Calling. I mean, Chord of Calling does get significantly weaker if I can keep all the opponent's creatures off of the board. I think if it's between Wall and Melira, I should definitely be taking the Melira. I really don't think the Wall is going to be super impactful, but that said, it is a mana source, and the opponent is short on things to do. I mean, Melira might just be a 2/2, but if they draw like a Kitchen Finks or something, and then it can become really, really annoying. So I think Melira is probably more important to take. Like, inherently, it's not as powerful by itself. But I think it has the, assuming I don't find a removal spell, I think it's one of the things I'm more likely to lose to in the grand scheme of things. And I suppose since I am looking for more threats, I will crack the Bobble, but I'll do it after the opponent fetches. I'll just like upkeep it. They're drawing another Tomb. That's good for me. So they'll more likely than not cast their Wall here. It stops the Swift Spear from getting in, but I don't think that's a huge concern. Alright, so we know the hand. We've got perfect info. So I would love a Shadow or a Scourge in these next 2 cards. Tarmogoyf also works. So I could attack with a Swift Spear, and if they block, I could then Lightning Bolt the Wall in order to cut them off of that mana source as well. It's not crazy. Like, if their wall dies, they can't actually chord for anything that costs more than 0. So I think I like making the attack. And then again, if they block, I'll cast a Lightning Bolt targeting it, and then I'll follow it up with a Tarmogoyf. Yeah, so yeah, this felt like a pretty free attack. Alright, so now since the wall isn't going to be dying, I'll cast Thoughtseize, taking the opponent's last spell, and then I'll play a Tarmogoyf. Obviously, like, missing a point of damage by casting this in the second main, but we can't both kill the wall and deploy Tarmogoyf if we play Thoughtseize in the first main. The opponent's asking if we're playing 8 rack. Not quite. Alright. Alright, I mean, I guess I'll just get second red. I don't really think I'm going to need second green for anything. It's really just casting Tarmogoyf, so yeah, I'll just get another Blood Crypt to have more black. I'll say yes. Oop, that needs to be green. Is 3-color 8-rack a thing? I do not believe so. I think the opponent was more being humorous than serious. Land not great. We do still have the play of put Luris into our hand, which is more likely than not going to be what happens. I'll go ahead and attack both. So while the opponent does have some kind of Melira shenanigans going on, I assume this is some kind of Yawgmoth deck. Alright, and they are blocking wall. I think I will just go ahead and bolt the wall just because it opens up future attacks for the Swift Spear, presumably. Alternatively, like, the bolt is probably good to stop whatever combo they may start getting going. So maybe it's better to just accept this block. Like, their shortage is no longer mana, so I think I'm fine just bumping off of the wall. And then this Mire can get the Stomping Ground to cast the Lightning Bolt. Woe Strider. Alright, so sacrifice outlet. That makes me happy that I kept the Lightning Bolt. And then I suppose I should just save the life. I can just get Stomping Ground end of turn. Because, like, I'm very likely just going to be casting Luris and then a Mishra's Bauble, which means I'll have all the mana to do it. So I can save 2 life by just getting a Shockland tapped here. Seems fine. Like, this takes away the ability to cast a 1-mana spell if I draw one, but that's probably just fine. Alright, and I suppose I should attack with the Tarmogoyf first, because the opponent won't have the info that their Woe Strider is dying when they more than likely sacrifice something to the Woe Strider. Gonna stop at the opponent's upkeep to sacrifice the Bauble that I'm about to cast. Alright, and they put one on the bottom. Alright, let's get this out of here now. So yeah, I gotta think it's some kind of Yawgmoth pile. That or it's just a Melira something or other. Yeah, and I do want to crack this, I believe, on the opponent's turn. Because if they are playing Inquisition or Thoughtseize, I don't want them to have access to the Bauble card. So I'll just do it upkeep to continue Perfect Information. Another wall. Yep. So more likely than not, I'm going to end up casting this Renin 6 just to get some more damage going. It looks like we're going to get an escape on the Woe Strider here. I can use the Renin 6 to destroy the goat. Not bad. Alright, so I get to go Swift Spear first. Then I can cast the Bauble for some prowess triggers. And then the opponent's going to be scrying, so I'll wait to sacrifice the Bauble. Like, I could Bauble first, get some information on how I want to attack. But this seems better. And a Bolt is nice, because that means their Swift Spears are going to be 4 power apiece. Which means they're going to trade with the Woe Strider if they choose to block them in that way. I don't want them blocking with this goat. I want my stuff to get damage in. So, do I want to attack with the Lurrus? Because it kind of just gets blocked by the Woe Strider. Probably just don't want to attack with the Lurrus. Alright, and they bottomed with the Scry. Alright, so one of these Swift Spears is going to get bonked by the 05 wall. Do I attack with the Tarmogoyf? Their Woe Strider is 5/4. Adding, and they did take all the creatures out of their library. So by bolting like a bird, for example, does mean that the Tarmogoyf trades with the Woe Strider. Does an attack all look good here? I think if I attack all, I open myself up to dying. This is pretty safe. Like if the opponent draws like a if they attack me, I would have to take the damage, and then like they could draw like the triple black zombie that has persist. I never remember the name of it. They're taking it. Oh, we're not in blocks yet. Duh. So yeah, if they put Woe Strider in front of basically anything, I'll send the Lightning Bolt at the bird to add a type. If they block only Tarmogoyf, I can Bolt face and then they're dead. But yeah, this block is fairly obvious. I mean, if this is also the only block, I can also Bolt face and we're lethal this way as well. That's smart. Alright, so adding a type here does not have the Tarmogoyf punching through the wall, but it does have this Swift Spear punching through their second wall. So maybe I should just be casting the Lightning Bolt here. Is adding a type smart, or is just bolting the opponent smart? Their shortage is no longer mana, so I think I'm probably just going face with this. And then we expect them to sacrifice their 04 to their Woe Strider. We do. They put a card on the bottom. Alright, and then I'll upkeep the Bauble again. So yeah, this would have killed me had I attacked with the Lurrus. I mean, if I attacked with the Lurrus, I would have gained 3 life, I suppose. So, do I want to trade and make this a 3/2, or I suppose I should. I really don't want to die to additional copies of this. Like if I block like this, I can run in 6, ping the bird. This can get sacrificed to then block. It's close. Blocking this, it just turns it into another creature, but I mean, this achieves the same thing. It's close. It will block like this, I suppose. I mean, blocking like this it like kind of forces the opponent to make that trade. Sure. Probably something I could have done better here. Losing the Luris is probably not something I'm interested in. Alright, they want to trade. Makes sense, killing Luris is good. Two baubles. I mean, that makes either Swift Spirit lethal. So I get to, now that the opponent is hellbent, I can kill the bird. They'll use it to scry, and then I'll just go bobble, bobble, and attack all. Get some more info on the opponent's deck here. There's the Kitchen Finks. Alright, so we're playing versus black-green Melira, a Melira Chord. Maybe with Yawgmoth. Kozilek's Return seems like it's going to be good. Just for sweeping up their combo. They could be playing Thought Seizes and Fatal Pushes. So Veil is a good possibility. I think I'm going to want another spot removal spell. Definitely want the Spell Bomb because their combo is graveyard based. So these six almost for sure. I think Veil is the card in question. On the draw, I don't entirely mind taking out a couple Swift Spears. It makes the Scourges potentially weaker because we're not necessarily gonna have damage in play to turn to the Scourge, so it makes me a little nervous. Renin sixes seem pretty strong. I think in the face of the black deck, I'll cut one Battle Rage. I do want to keep one. I need 3 more cuts. Maybe on the draw, things like Inquisition and Thoughtseize get weaker. I'll cut like 1 Inquisition. Definitely going to keep all of the removal. Feels weird cutting Bobble because like that's the free card, but I mean maybe it is just Bobble. I don't want to cut any more threats. I already cut 2 Swift Spears, and the removal is all going to be generally pretty good. Renin 6 is going to be pretty good at picking off birds. Yeah. I mean I don't want to cut any more threats, and I don't want to cut any removal. I mean I guess the only other real slot is the Hand Disruption, but the Hand Disruption tends to be pretty good as well. Which is why I only cut 1 and kept 6. I mean, this does seem just fine. Bobble's good for prowess, but we took 2 of our prowess creatures out. Yeah, that sounds good. A lot of threats, not a lot of actual ways to interact. So I'll just be looking for more of those, really. Bird. Alright, so what do I want to do here on 1? Do I want to Inquisition, or do I want to deploy a Swift Spear? I think I'm going to Inquisition here, and then next turn I'll probably just play a Tarmogoyf. Yeah, Inquisition here seems fine. So do I want to fetch Shock? I think I do, because I want this Shadow to be big as quickly as possible. And then I'll get Overgrown Tomb, since next turn I'm more than likely casting a Tarmogoyf. They've got Spellskite, Eldritch Evolution. They are playing Yawgmoth. That was a good read. And Hapatra. So whenever they put a minus counter on something, they get a snake. I mean, I don't have much removal, so the Spellskite's kind of just an 0-4, but future removal is going to be a lot worse. Eldritch Evolution lets them hit a combo piece. They've got the Yawgmoth already. I mean, their bottleneck is mana, I guess. So maybe I should just take the Evolution, because that's their route to combo. It's going to be kind of hard for them to assemble combo quickly without a lot of mana, and Evolution is one of the cards that helps them get there. Yeah, I think I'll take Evolution. It's a strange spot, though. I'm not entirely sure what I should be taking there. Let me know in the comments what you take. Hapatra. This is a pretty cool tiny leader, if you're into that kind of thing. Alright, another land. Alright, I guess I'm just going to be casting a Tarmogoyf here. I guess I'm more likely to want to fetch basic Swamp as opposed to Mountain, so I'll Blood Crypt off of the Wooded Foothills. I guess they're also casting Spellskite now, or else they would have done this painlessly to cast the bird. Alright, so my removal is not going to be great until I kill the Spellskite, but I don't actually have any of that right now. The removal spell that's bad against Spellskite, joy. Alright, well I can Fetch Shock down to 12, which means I can deploy both the Swift Spear and the Shadow. I'll probably end up bolting myself just to make the Shadow bigger. Fetch Shock. I've already got second green if I want it, so let's just get more black and red mana. Blood Crypts. Swift Spear. And then the attack with the Swift Spear is kind of free. Do I just attack all? Well, I definitely don't want this Hapatra hitting me, so I think I'm going to attack with just a Swift Spear here. Because, like, if they block with the Spellskite, I can bolt the Spellskite, and if they block with anything else, the Prowess trigger is enough to mow it down. The Swift Spear really isn't blocking super well anyway, so I think this attack is basically free. Alright, and then second main, I'll play 2/2 Death's Shadow, leaving up a Lightning Bolt. Yagi. Yep. So they got to make a lot of snakes here. Alright, so I'm gonna, and I kind of have to do this to myself in response, or else they sacrifice one more creature to kill the Shadow. So bolting myself now means they have to sacrifice 2 creatures to kill the Shadow. I mean, sacrificing it's really only sacrifice 1, because as soon as one of these resolves, they can just sacrifice the snake. Yeah, this Hapatra is looking obviously very strong with the Yawgmoth. They have basically infinite creatures to sacrifice. They just have to pay a life each time. I mean, I'll make them pay a life each time. There's still some combination of big creature and Teamer Battle Rage to kill the opponent. I guess they could redirect to spell skite, so that's not even necessarily true. But I mean, as long as they have to pay a life. Yeah, they're at 10. So yeah, I mean, my take of Eldritch Evolution looked really bad now, right? Yeah, unfortunately, like, even if I had taken the spell skite, the removal that I draw would not have dealt with the important Yawgmoth, but it would have dealt with the Hapatra, or I could have just taken the Hapatra. Bolt on the opponent doesn't work either because they've got the spell skite. So they get to attack me for 2, make another snake, put a minus counter on a Swift Spear. Need to draw the Damnation that's not in my deck. I guess Kozilek's Return is a live draw. There are 2 of those. I would still have to defeat a Yawgmoth in play that's protected by a spell skite. But with no creatures left after that, there's a possibility a big shadow can get there. But obviously them drawing a card off of each iteration is really bad. Not quite. Alright, so we didn't really see anything along the lines of Fatal Push or Inquisition Thoughtseize. Veil can stop some Yawgmoth turns, but that's about it. Do I want this other Inquisition back now that I'm on the play? Same can be said about the Swift Spears. So let's get in all of the possibilities. So these are all the possibles. So I need 6 cuts. On the play, I'm definitely not cutting the Wrens. I think I'm good with 1 Battle Rage. Maybe I should just cut my worst removal spell. I guess Seal of Fire isn't even the worst because that's the one that can mess around with our Luris in the companion zone. Yeah, I'm gonna cut 1 Scourge just because I think the Swift Spears are probably good enough to bring back in the main, in the 1-drop slot while I'm on the play. I'll shave on Baubles again. Leaves me with needing 3 cuts. It's pretty difficult. Swift Spears are not great in multiples. I kind of just want 1 or 2 early. The Veil really doesn't seem excellent. They did kind of combo me without using the graveyard, so maybe I don't want all 3 Nile Spellbomb. But I mean, that said, their main combo is still graveyard oriented. Yeah, maybe I still don't want like extra copy of Inquisition, just like keep the 6. So I guess the only actual change I made is now that I'm on the play, I brought in another Swift Spear over a Scourge. Seems fine. Sand also seems fine. Missing a threat, but our interaction is definitely there. Get a Blood Crypt, cast an Inquisition targeting the opponent. If they have like a Birds of Paradise, I'm definitely going to leave them with it because the N6 can kill it real easily. Alright, so now it's between Hapatra and Kitchen Finks. We've got an easy way to deal with Hapatra this time around, and Kitchen Finks seems like it's going to be kind of a headache. So I'll take the Finks. They've got a pretty combo-oriented hand, though. So I really need to find a Shadow or a Tarmogoyf. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So this looks like a pretty good window to just get the Tarmogoyf down. The board is completely empty. I don't really need to hold up removal spells. And the threat here is really important because we can get the opponent on the back foot. It's the Delver strategy. Play the cheap threat, and then disrupt, disrupt, disrupt. Tarmogoyf pretty perfect here too, because we would not have been able to play a Scourge of the Skyclaves and or a Shadow. So among all of our threats, Tarmogoyf was definitely the best to find here. So I'm assuming they're going to go like Blooming Marsh, Hapatra. I'll probably just cast the Seal of Fire and the Renin 6, and then kill the Hapatra immediately. Yep. Yeah, and I think well, either one of these spells is going to grow the Tarmogoyf. Trophy, not bad. And I guess I should cast Renin 6 first, buy back a land, and then I'll use that to fetch Shock another Blood Crypt and cast the Seal. Definitely want to hold the instant speed interaction up. Get in, get in, get in. And now if their answer is something like a Dismember for whatever reason, the Goyf actually outsizes it, but obviously we'll still die to a copy of Fatal Push. Not a Finks. Yawgmoth. Okay, they did Shock though, so... Alright, they played this Marsh. Spellskite, okay. So I can trophy the Spellskite, and then I could use the Renin 6 to ping down the Yawgmoth and have it undie. Gonna have to be wary of this Murderous Redcap. So trophying this now puts Artifact and Instant in the yard, which makes the Tarmogoyf really large. I don't think they're blocking. And I definitely want to Renin 6 this Yawgmoth, so I suppose I should just trophy first. Because I don't want them to Yawgmoth and get extra value off of the Yawgmoth. Alright, so now I'll ping the Yawgmoth. And I could even bolt the Yawgmoth as well. In fact, I think I will. It allows a hit for 6. And in addition, it's going to make sure that this Yawgmoth can't get a lot of value. So with the crack of a fetch land or a shock, the opponent is now on a one-turn clock. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Cutthroat. Okay, that could be interesting. Okay, so I tracked their hand slightly wrong. I mean, this Renin 6 is gonna get to just ping off the Zulaport Cutthroat. I guess I'll get second green. It doesn't really hurt. I've already got triple black, which is probably more than enough. Peatland. Alright, well, that'll be good for future turns with the Renin 6, but I'm pretty sure I just want to get this Zulaport Cutthroat dead. If I do that and the opponent blocks, their 2/2 will be big enough to kill the Renin 6. Is that a big concern? I mean, if it means keeping the opponent really on the back foot, it's probably just fine. I suppose I could sacrifice Peatland first to get info, and then if I have nothing else to do with my mana, I can then just put Lurrus into my hand. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is fine. Alright, so I'll do this. And again, we know the opponent's hand. Alright, and then I'll attack first as to not give them information on the block, but I can't imagine they're not blocking. Alright, so they'll make a 2/2 now. So do I want to Thoughtseize or do I want to put Lurrus into my hand? I think this Yawgmoth is powerful enough that I should just take it. I mean, putting Lurrus into my hand now opens up the possibility of next turn I can Lurrus and cast Seal of Fire and cast Thoughtseize. But I'm getting kind of low. Like, Murderous Redcap puts me at a virtual 6 life. Thoughtseize puts me at a virtual 4, and then sacking a fetch puts me at a virtual 3. So if I plan on doing all of that, I really can't take more than 3 more life from the opponent. So if they Yawgmoth me, what's the worst they can do? They can attack down my Wrenn and 6, and then I guess draw some cards, shrink my... Yeah, it seems really bad letting them Yawgmoth. It's just one of the more powerful cards in their deck, so I think I'll just go ahead and take the Yawgmoth. And then leave them with the red cap, which is dangerous, because like I said, this is worth 3 points, and they've got 2 points in play. But I think this is going to be running at the Wrenn and 6 this turn. Or they can just shoot it with the red cap, but that's kind of the same thing. It's interesting to know what you guys would have done. Obviously provide some amount of reasoning if you want to give a suggestion. Big draw step. Not bad. Alright, so the opponent is at 7. So if I attack here, they're going to persist, put me down to 4. And they don't actually have lethal, but that means I can't sacrifice fetch land, which I'm definitely playing because I get to keep up the Fatal Push. And they kind of can't not block. So this is a close one. I mean, I'm pretty sure I should continue attacking here. I really don't want them to be able to start recurring the red cap. And I almost have to save this Fatal Push for combat. Because if they play like a haste creature, I may need to defend versus that. So the opponent did not play a land last turn. Alright, and there's the haste creature. So they're going to end up attacking all. Which means I guess I have to Fatal Push the Yawgmoth and then take 3 going to 1. Can't kill this one because then it represents a blocker. If we don't just die here, I believe I can kill the opponent with an attack and then a casting of Seal of Fire via Lurrus. Like a Fatal Push here would be annoying, but we would get to survive via lifelink on Lurrus. Like Cling to Dust here could also be annoying. Alright, Seal of Fire. And then is there any reason to upkeep it to be safe? No, because they could have Chord of Calling and they could like get a Kitchen Finks into play in response. The opponent's kind of calling me a luck sack right now. I think I played this medium well. Definitely think there are places I could have been better. They're insisting that they had the win, but then like punted. They have kitchen finks in hand, they say. All right, yeah, that was a lot closer than I wanted it to be. I'm definitely gonna have to review that match because I definitely think the Thoughtseize turn where the decision between putting Thoughtseize into my hand or decision of putting Luris into my hand or Thoughtseizing, I think that was definitely a close turn. Like putting Luris into my hand would allow me to have a more powerful turn immediately following, but that I was pretty scared of that Yawgmoth. One land, Thoughtseize into redraw. We've got the Renin 6. They revealed Gigantha, so that means either Storm or Tron. I mean, this hand isn't particularly strong versus either of those. I mean, I guess versus Storm, Thoughtseize in a way to kill a dork is fine. I mean, I've got an extra look at a land with the Bauble if I don't want to Thoughtseize. It's close. I think I'm going to ship. This hand has a pretty high potential to stumble. This hand isn't significantly better. I mean, we can bolt the opponent and get a turn 2 Scourge of the Skyclaves, and I guess that's a pretty good line. So I think I'll keep and bottom a Stomping Ground. I'll go like Mire first. Or I guess I should Blood Crypt first because I may want to get green. I mean, I don't want to get Stomping Ground because my hand is this deck is predominantly black. So I guess I'll shock a Stomping Ground. Kind of gives it away, but this seems fine if I'm trying to preserve my green source. All right, and it is Tron. All right, so we'll bolt the opponent here. Turn the Scourges on. Fatal Push is a dead one. Overgrown Tomb, say yes, play a 3/3. The opponent kept a 7 without Tron on 3. They must have like Sylvan Scrying on top of a map. I mean, I probably would have mulligans, especially given that I revealed Luris. It's like more likely than not I'm some kind of aggro deck, so they probably need a really fast Tron. Just so they can get their payoffs into play super quick. Thoughtseize is good, but I think this turn is almost going to have to be dedicated towards putting another threat into play. So this hit for 3 means my Scourges will become a 5/5. I can then cast another Scourge. So as soon as I Thoughtseize, the opponent will have the highest life total, which means my Scourges will be 6. Which is too short. Alright, so yeah, scrying on top of map makes sense. But I mean, they're going to have to pop the map using mana next turn. Alright, well, I guess I'm Thoughtseizing first. Because, like, you know, Thoughtseize can definitely hit something. I'll cast Inquisition if I know I'm able to hit something. Double Thragtusk. Alright, so next turn they'll tap, like, Forest, Mine, get the other Tron land, then they'll have 5 colorless mana. So they could Karn and then play something for 1. The issue is, like, so, like, should I play around the opponent just top decking the other Tron land? Because if they top deck the other Tron land and cast Ugin, I'm never ever winning. So Inquisition doesn't actually hit anything. So I think what I'm doing now is I'm just gonna play around the opponent top decking the other Tron land, If they top deck the other Tron land, they could always just like mini Karn, get a bridge from below. So it's like I'm not beating the Ugin, I'm not beating the Karn. Karn Liberated only gets rid of one thing. So I guess which is worse for me, Karn the Great Creator or Ugin? I think it's almost definitely Ugin because they just -2 and I'm never winning. Whereas like Karn, I can at least have a hope of like drawing burn spells. So yeah, I mean I could draw burn spells either way, but I think Ugin puts me farther away if they just draw the burn spell or the Tron land. All right, so please don't natural draw it. That's all I got to say. Mine, tower, you got the power plant? Don't slow roll me here. Alright, tower is what they had revealed off of the map, and they revealed this off of stirring, so here's their hand and one unknown. Cool. Alright, so Tron, Joy. Cleansing Wildfire obviously is pretty good at hitting lands. Their payoffs are mainly artifacts, so Ancient Grudge is good in that regard. Kroxa might be fine as a way to pressure the opponent's hand, but that seems kind of soft. I guess Trophy hits a Tron land, and any payoff Kolaghan's Command can pressure the hand and additionally kill an artifact. So I guess like these 5 are like the main prospects. I might need Battle Rage to win a race. The opponent doesn't really have a whole lot of removal, so Battle Rage actually looks pretty good. The Fatal Pushes are definitely all dead, so let's cut those right away. And I guess also in that sense, Dismember is also bad. I mean that's a clean 5 for 5. So I guess is Kroxa better than something? Maybe Kroxa is just better than like second copy of Ren and 6. Like Ren and 6 is nice to keep the fetch shocks coming, but the long games that Ren and 6 promotes aren't ones that we're winning versus Tron. So I think I like a copy of Kroxa over a copy of Ren and 6. Is a random redraw worth better than anything? Probably not. This seems fine. Yeah, sounds fine. We don't have any of our land hate, but we only have a couple of those. This is a pretty quick Swift Spear. We can Swift Spear, double bobble. And that will hopefully activate our Scourges. So I guess when is the proper time to crack this? Probably just upkeep. Scrying. Alright, so now they kept a good hand. Tower, makes sense. Alright, and I definitely want to really dig towards my grave hate now. Sorry, my land hate now. So I've got a 3-card draw step. I would really like to hit one of my 2 copies of Cleansing Wildfire. Nice. Alright, so this looks like a pretty easy turn of Fetch Shock and Overgrown Tomb, Cleansing Wildfire or something. And then, alright, they've got tower and hands. I guess which one I hit here is pretty random. So let's just hit the power plant, I suppose. Obviously doing this before combat to get the prowess trigger. I mean, this cleansing wildfire gave us like an extra 10 percentage points minimum at winning this game. Like, obviously completing Tron into any payoff is really rough for us. So setting that back a turn is obviously quite good. In. So tower we know of. We also know that they were drawing a map. What is this? Like an O-stone? Sure. Alright, so we don't have a way to interact with the opponent's hand. They didn't play the map though, so if they don't just have natural Tron, Inquisition might be a way to get them off of it. So I suppose we should just cast Inquisition first to get that info. Like, I don't want to, if they're going to complete the Tron, I don't want to really commit extra creatures into a board that has an O-stone. So do you have a power plant in hand? And if you do, my 50-50 guess was pretty bad. Yeah, they've got it. Oh, they don't have the map. I guess I tracked that wrong. So between Stirrings and Sphere. I mean, I guess I'll take the Stirrings. They've got a Karn the Great Cater. So they could Karn minus it and put something into play that costs 4. Or they could just like pop the O-stone. There's not really a whole lot that I can do that would be good. I mean, I guess if I play the Scourge now, I kind of make them pop the O-stone, and then following that, I can have 2 more threats to follow up. None of this is particularly promising, but I think my potential best route is making them use the turn to pop the O-stone, but that's not even that much of an inconvenience. Imagine they like play a Thragtusk here and kill my Scourge. But yeah, I mean, if they don't pop the O-stone, we could kill them by bolting the opponent to grow the Scourge and then casting Battle Rage on it. But all of this seems pretty meager in the face of basically whatever the opponent wants. Karn for a 4-drop would be bad. They put Gigantha in their hand? Okay, I mean, they get to keep up the Oblivion Stone. So I guess that's the thing. Thoughtseize is a big pickup. So this does cost 5 to activate. We don't quite have lethal in play, so they might just not even pop the O-stone until end step. If I cast the Battle Rage, that preserves the creatures in hand and makes them use the O-stone, and then I could Thoughtseize to take a payoff. They've got 8 mana, so I mean, any Tron land would let them Ulamog, which I'm never winning, but like the Thoughtseize can maybe fight the Karn without, assuming the opponent doesn't have another payoff, a 3rd one. So I guess I'll go to attack and then see how the opponent uses their O-stone. They're just doing it now. Alright, well, that timing is advantageous for me. Now I can Thoughtseize, really hope that I don't see more payoffs. Alright, well, they don't have another Tron land, but they've got double Karn, so I can't really stop the Karn no matter what I do. So I guess I'm taking Ulamog because I do kind of just insta-lose to the Ulamog. So yeah, I'll take Ulamog. They've got double Karn. So then I guess between these two threats, I'll cast the Scourge. Scourge is guaranteed bigger. And it also opens up the possibility of a Battle Rage kill next turn, whereas the Death Shadow kind of doesn't unless I'm bolting myself, which I can do. But yeah, had the opponent not had double Karn the Great Creator, I think I just take it and then hope they don't draw the Tron piece. But this game would be very different had my 50-50 guess on which land to hit been right. Karn. I mean, if they minus the Karn, I could also just bolt it so they don't get an additional activation. But I expect a bridge here. And bridge is going to be kind of rough. Kolaghan's Command isn't out to it, as is Assassin's Trophy. There's the bridge. So I go bridge plus, I guess, Chromatic Sphere here. Oh, they drew the Tron line. All right, so I guess I'm not getting Ulamogged here, which was good. All right, backup Karn is going to be kind of backbreaking though. I think I like almost need to draw the trophy or the Kolaghan's Command. Stomping Ground. All right, well I can't attack. If I bolt to the Karn, they just play another Karn. I mean, it's kind of my only play. Bolting the opponent doesn't really achieve anything. So, I mean, I guess I'm just going to play this Shadow and then hope to be able to kill the opponent after drawing. After drawing a way to deal with bridge. And then I'll shock here. So that way if they like put a blocker into play like a Worm Coil and I'm able to get rid of the bridge, I can Battle Rage whichever one is blocked. Like if it's a Worm Coil, I can Battle Rage so the first strike doesn't make them gain 6. So I think playing second creatures here is good. The way this bites me is if they draw like an All Is Dust or another Oblivion Stone. I doubt they've got an Oblivion Stone like in their sideboard to go get, but I guess they could. So my instant kill button here is only trophy because I need the mana to also Battle Rage. I guess Kolaghan's I've got the power in play to just lethal the opponent. So I guess either way to deal with bridge is going to be good here. You have hexproof. Alright, well that doesn't really change the prospect of I need to get the bridge off the table now. If I can do it now, I can win. If I can't, it's going to be a lot harder because this Karn is going to minus again. Holy crap. Kill the bridge. Alright, I'm going to try to kill the opponent here. I've got lethal in play. Attack Big Ben. Attack Big Ben. 13? Did I do my math wrong? How did I do my math wrong? Well, that sucks. I would have had lethal. How did I do my math wrong? I don't get it. This was a 6-6. Sorry, this was a... What did I hit them for? My apologies. This is unfortunate. What? They were at 13, which means I just hit them for 11. This was only a 5-5? I swore it was a 7-7. What happened? Ah, that's what happened. Okay. I should probably read the entire text of the card. Oof. That's pretty bad. when you drew the Ulamog too. I deserve this. I deserve this. I gotta read the card. Reading the card explains the card. And I can't even draw like a bolt here because the opponent is hexproof. Alright, well I got lucky and drew my 1 outer. Or my 2 outer. Then I threw it away anyway. Feels Batman. Punt. Alright, I guess I'll see what they reveal. Now, do I have any outs? I don't think so. I think I threw those away. Bobble. Yep, dead. Wow. Alright, well, lesson learned. Read the card fully. Oof, that stings. The opponent doesn't know that we punted. Oof. Oh, that's so bad. If we could guarantee there was a land on top, this hand is very good. Is it worth the risk? Because, like, we have turn 1 Slow Spear hits you for 3. And we've got 2 redraws. Yeah, I think I'm keeping. Because, like, this is a pretty big Scourge of the Skycleaves pretty early. Like, with 3 looks at it, and then we get to play even if we don't hit it. I think this is going to be worth the risk. Because, like, if we mulligan to a less functional 6, it's going to end up feeling really bad. Alright, so they've got Karn. Star, okay. So they're going to be drawing Wormcoil. Alright, so Black Source in the top 3, please. Got 19 hits at it. Cool. Alright, and we hit a Cleansing Wildfire too. Wow. Alright, so now we're poised to take this. Say yes. So the Scourge is going to end up being a 4/4 after the Swift Spear hits. And then next turn, I'll probably Cleansing Wildfire to keep the opponent off of the Tron, assuming they're able to hit it. Like, if they play a Forest here for whatever reason, I'll probably Inquisition, maybe even Bolt, just to get maximum prowess triggers. Scrying. Okay, so this looks like a Cleansing Wildfire turn. I really can't afford the opponent just slamming a Wormcoil. Gwaif is good, but I kind of have to do this. And we haven't seen any other Tron lands in the opponent's hands, so again, it's a 50-50 as to which one I'm supposed to hit here. Alright, we drew Inquisition. Not great. We get an attack, though. Do we have lethal next turn? I can Lightning Bolt target myself, meaning that the Scourge will be a 7. And then, yeah, I mean, between that prowess trigger and the prowess trigger of an Inquisition, we have exactly 10. So, I mean, like, Dismember or Spatial Contortion could potentially mess this up. Stone. Tower. And a land. Alright, so I guess I'm just leading on Inquisition here. Let's redo the math. There's no Witchbane Orb in play. So, bolting myself. I guess I could also bolt the opponent, but if this doesn't work, I want my life total lower for the Shadows and the Scourges. So bolting myself makes this a 7/7/8. So two prowess triggers puts me in lethal range. So, let's Inquisition, targeting the opponent. I have the mana to bolt myself in response if they try to, like, dismember the Scourge. So I'll Inquisition, target the opponent. Alright, we get to take a stone. Alright, so it looks like we're good here. Bolt myself, and then since I have the higher life total, this means the Scourge will grow. Jam. Okay. Alright, so after punting game 2 and we had the very clear and decisive victory, it's, I guess, good I was able to keep a level head and come back for the third game. Yep, let's go first versus Blue Skies J with a keeper. Alright, so I will shock on turn 1 to cast a Swift Spear. And then next turn we can have some combination of removal plus Thoughtseize. Temple Garden. Okay, so I mean Temple Garden is probably a good matchup. It's more likely than not either the green-white Heliod deck or the Primeval Titan value deck. Either way, I'm pretty sure this turn starts with Thoughtseize, and second Thoughtseize is not a bad pickup, unless they've got removal for our first and only threat. Alright, and it is the Primeval Titan deck. So I think I'm going to take Dryad here, and then next turn take second copy of Dryad. Dryad is going to be able to ramp them into a Titan, and that's the way that I lose this, I think. So I think taking Dryad into taking Dryad is where I want to be. And then I definitely want to cast another spell here to enable Prowess. So let's get the seal in play. Because like if they cast a if they cast the Elvish Reclaimer, I'm gonna want a 0 mana way to kill it. So I don't want to see things like Path to Exile here. I guess now the opponent can Eldamri's Call or Eladamri's Call. I mean, I'm taking this other Dryad. I suppose they could search for another one, but at least they're using it on that and not a copy of Titan. That's a way to destroy the third copy of Dryad. I've got the Seal of Fire in play to enable Revolt. So I guess I'm leading on Thoughtseize. I want to max on Prowess triggers. The Swift Spear I hope goes all the way and before Path to Exile. Alright, so I do think I'm just taking another Dryad. Make them probably want to Eladamri's Call for a Dryad. And I think I'm bolting the opponent too, just to get the Prowess trigger in. And damage is damage. Put the opponent to 10 here. A virtual 8 because we've got the seal in play. Again, the seal more likely than not going to be what enables Revolt. They might not get Dryad here. There could be something cool I'm not thinking of. They do just get Dryad though. Blast Zone. Oh, we knew about that. Duh. Okay. Turn Timber. I think I accidentally canceled a card from the opponent's hand. Don't quite remember what it was. Peatland. I could sacrifice a Peatland and enable Revolt that way. I mean, this seal may just be better used for a the 1 mana 1/2. Yeah, I think I'm sacrificing Peatlands just to continue digging. Shadow, not bad. I definitely want to kill this Dryad though, because I don't want them to have some kind of Valakut draw. Also, double land lets them cast a Titan. So I think it's pretty important to get this Dryad off of the table. Attack for 2. The Swift Spear just doing the Lord's work. Alright, so when I Inquisitioned them, what did they reveal? That's a new one. I think that's actually everything. So their 2 cards are unknowns. It's the 1 card from a draw step, and then they drew Explore, but the Explore also redrew. Scourge. Scourge is big. Bigger than Shadow. I think I'm playing that. Especially because it doesn't get blast zoned with the Swift Spear. And when they pop the blast zone, I'm gonna have to remember to use the Seal of Fire before it also gets destroyed. Alright, Scourge is the lethal threat, so I'll cast that one. It's a 10/10. Alright, so I'm weak to a Titan. Alright, there's a Reclaimer. Reclaimer is fine. I've got the push for that. They've got a Path, though. Brutal. Okay, Black Source. So I would love to draw a Black Source here. Excellent, because this means I get to both Fatal Push and cast a Shadow. which I was previously unable to do. Let's get Blood Crypt. Say yes. Cast my lethal threat. And then hope the opponent blanks. Did you draw Titan? Titan would be a tilt. I mean, there's not much I can do if they just top deck it, though. Mother fudger. Yeah. What are my outs now? I guess Temur Battle Rage is probably my best shot. Like, they have 6 uniques already, so they could just double Field of the Dead. Make 4 zombies. And I'm probably not beating that. Yeah, their Path to Exile find into exactly Primeval Titan was kind of the nuts in this scenario, I think. Yep, that's the play. 4 zombies. So yeah, even if I Temur Battle Rage a 14 powered Trampler, there's not much I can do. I can put Lurrus into my hand, I guess, but I'm just not surviving combat. If I play another Shadow, I'm still just exactly lethal, right? Because I can block the Titan, I can block a zombie, but then I take 6. Yeah. That Primeval Titan off the top was the nuts. And it had to be exactly Titan too. Like, they didn't have enough mana to tutor for it and play it. Alright, Cleansing Wildfire. Kozilek's Return is probably a fine like one shot to kill a bunch of zombies, but it doesn't seem great. If they've got Dryad in play, Boil like kills all of their lands. I don't think that's good enough though. 4 mana is a lot. I even think Kozilek's Return is going to be too slow. Like maybe on the draw when I'm a little slower, but on the play, I think I just have to head down, pummel through as much as I can. But I mean, Cleansing Wildfire is probably fine enough. There aren't a lot of Fatal Push targets. The run in 6 kills like actually nothing. I think if I'm playing Boils like in game 3, I'll have to bring the Wrens back in just so I can make sure to get to those 4th lands. But I mean, other than that, this seems like where I want to be. I could trophy to like kill a Dryad, but then I'm ramping the opponent into a Titan, and that seems bad. Sounds fine. We don't have Inquisition Thoughtseize, but I mean we've got a pretty fast Shadow and Tarmogoyf. I did mention I kind of just need to be as quick as I can. Like I can on my first turn I can fetch Shock Bolt myself, and then I can fetch Shock. That has me going down to 11, which means Shadow is a 2/2, and then on the following turn attacking as a 5/5. Grazer, that's annoying. I think I'm making the play of Bolt myself. Like if this was a an Elvish Reclaimer, I think it happens a little differently. But yeah, I need to get these shadows really big really quickly, so let's send a Lightning Bolt at my own face. Alright, there's another shadow. So I am weak to Blast Zone, but I think I'm just going to have to hope that the opponent doesn't have it and go 2/2/2/2 and then attack for 5 next turn. But I mean, this is the kind of heads down, barrel as quickly as I can strategy that I mentioned. I've got Fetch, Shock, Kill Dryad. Path to Exile would be unfortunate. Another Bolt, not bad. Let's get a Blood Crypt. Say yes. Cast a Fatal Push, targeting a Dryad, leaving up the green in case I want to cast Tarmogoyf. Jam, jam. Turn 3, attack for 10. Alright, and then I think I'm going to cast the Tarmogoyf here to diversify my mana costs. Like, I could have bolted myself there, which would have had the opponent going all the way down to 3, but 3 is not 0. Alright, this is a good sign. They're not tightening me here. They're still dead if they don't have Path to Exile. I guess I should just bolt the opponent now. If I bolt the opponent now, they can still just block a shadow. So if I attack all, they block a shadow. They're still taking 9, so they would have to have a path. If they have a path, I could bolt the opponent, but that's still 1 off of lethal, assuming they're pathing the shadow that they don't block. So I guess what's the best way to beat Path to Exile? Is it worth it bolting this Grazer? I guess if I bolt the Grazer, they do just die if they only have 1 path, so it's probably just worth it to kill this Grazer. They've got like Path and a Celestial Purge. Then I'm just hitting them with Goyf, and I can deploy a second Goyf to re-threaten lethal on the following turn. I mean, they didn't path me last turn, and they had 1 white mana available, so unless they drew a path, I don't think they've got it. Cool. Alright, so after a very close game 1, we take game 2 in a pretty defining fashion. Alright, so do I want to Mise the Boil plan? That would be these. I mean, Boil is only good if they have exactly Dryad. And I mentioned Kozilek's Return being a pretty nice one-shot to kill all of the zombies. But if they got a fetch land in play, they could still have blocks. I mean, I've got Temur Battle Rage as an out to pushing through zombies. Kozilek's Return would just be ways 3 and 4. Don't think I want any of these. It's pretty close. I mean, if I'm bringing in some number of these, what would be coming out? Can't be pushes, can't be Dismember. I mean, I guess I could take out some number of threats. Like maybe a Swift Spear or 2 now that we're on the draw. Let's like take out 1 Swift Spear maybe. Here, these are potential, here. These are potential ins. These will be potential outs. I guess there isn't a whole lot at 1 and 2 and 3 mana, so maybe like an Inquisition could come out. I mean, I really don't think I can afford the Boils if I'm not playing Wrenn and 6, and Wrenn and 6 is so bad without Boil. I mean, there's a lot that has to go right for that plan to be good. I don't think it's going to be consistently strong enough. So, am I making this swap? I mean, I can see it. I mean, the issue is like the Kozilek's Return. The only actual good use for it is one-shotting the zombies. But like, that's assuming I'm already super far behind, so it might not even be worth it to make the swap. What if I just had like 1? Because like drawing these in multiples it just seems like it's going to be the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to me. So what do I want to bring back in? Inquisition or the other Swift Spear? I mean, I think I'm going to bring in the other Swift Spear. I just really have to get the damage in when I can. So yeah, I'll bring in the 1 Kozilek's Return as that one shot. This has got to be a mulligan. One or two too many lands. And Scourge just really isn't a good threat without a way to deal damage. Oof. Well, if this was any other land, I think this is a consideration. We've got one redraw. We can bolt the first thing, and then if we draw a black source, the rest of the hand is fine. I just think this is going to be too slow. Like even if we draw the land, the hand is fine. It's not fantastic. I mean, it's good. If we can guarantee a black source. If they've got their 1-mana play that isn't Arboreal Grazer, I'm leaning keep at the moment, just because a 5-card hand can't possibly be much better. Alright. And then I guess I'll bottom a Tarmogoyf. Gonna keep the Thoughtseize, keep a redraw that also grows Goyf, and then the Shadow is probably one of my better threats. So I would love to just draw one of my 10 fetch lands. Got 53 hits, because again, we know a fetch land isn't on the bottom. Black Source. Black Source. I feel pretty good if we can hit it. I guess including the shocks, there are like 15 hits. Or 14. 10 fetches, an Overgrown Tomb. Sorry, 16. 2 Nurturing Peatlands, 3 Blood Crypts, an Overgrown Tomb, and the 10 fetches. So, I mean, we're 16 out of 53 to have a really solid hand. And then otherwise, we just have some redraws to have a fine hand moving forward. I mean, this hand is probably fine. I think shipping it's probably a little too crazy. Alright, well, we didn't hit it immediately. This is the 1-mana 1/1, or the 2-mana 1/1. Alright, so let's cast this. I mean, bobbling myself doesn't really change the outcome of what I'm drawing. We've got a Temple Garden on top. Alright, I guess I'll shock this. There you go. Black source, please. What's up, opponent? You in the bathroom? Cool. All right. So we're in it. If they don't play a creature here, I think I'm just bolting myself. I need to get this shadow going. Alternatively, I should actually probably just bolt the opponent because that gets the Scourge going. Definitely sending this somewhere. I think I'd like to get the Scourge into play, just because it costs the most mana. Another Black Source, not bad. So fairly easy Blood Crypt here. I could Thoughtseize here to take a potential Dryad, but without getting some amount of pressure into play, I'm not super confident in my ability to win. So yeah, maybe I should just get the Tarmogoyf down here, actually. Because like if they play Dryad, I can Thoughtseize and then get past it, whereas Scourge isn't going to get past it as long as they can play some number of lands. Or sorry, play the actual Dryad. If they don't take any life, Scourge never gets past the 4 toughness creature. I could threaten some amount of burn to the face, and then maybe a block is bad in that way. But I think I just like getting the Goyf down. And then next turn, I'll more than likely just go threat. Or, I mean, I could Thoughtseize and threat. Here's the Springbloom Druid, okay. You're going to try to get like a Field of the Dead plan going? They added creature, so Tarmogoyf grows a little bit. So we know of Temple Garden. We could still get Titans next turn if the opponent has Castle in their hand. I mean, I guess then there's the consideration to actually cast the Thoughtseize here, because if they only have one way to get Titan into play next turn, then I should be casting Thoughtseize. So if I Thoughtseize and then Fetch Shock, I go to 10. That does put Shadow into play as a 3/3. I mean, alternatively, I could just go Scourge Shadow. I mean, the issue is like I instantly lose if a Titan hits play, but then I'm not beating a Field of the Dead without a Battle Rage. So I'm leaning towards just getting the Thoughtseize played. So Thoughtseize. And they've got double Purge, Valakut, Temple Garden, Vesuva. All right. So even if they draw the Titan, they can't immediately do it. Their Purge is going to get rid of the first actual threat that I play. So I guess what am I more willing to get purged? Get a Blood Crypt here. The Shadow is going to be easier to have be big. I mean, they don't have another block. I mean, Scourge is going to be pretty big, assuming I actually am able to get a hit in. And, like, if they just draw Blaststone, I guess Shadow gets killed by that. I think I'm going to play the Shadow. It's less mana efficient, though, so maybe that would be the reason to play Peatland. But, I mean, assuming I get a hit in, the Scourge is going to be bigger faster. So I think I would rather them just get rid of the Shadow, which means I'll play the Shadow. Skyclave. Jeez, that's a good draw. Wow. Talk about nutty. Wow. Alright, well, Temple Garden was played. Alright, I mean, I get to play a Scourge, and that is, in theory, uncontested. But now I could just very easily die to a Primeval Titan. Skyclave, like, Skyclave is usually a 1 or a 2 of because you tutor for it. So, like, the fact that the opponent just drew it is super backbreaking. Do I want to sacrifice the Peatland here? Probably. Like, if I can find a way to get rid of this Skyclave to guarantee you get a hit in, that's probably advantageous. Push. Well, I can't use that one, not without a way to enable Revolt. which I just spewed. Alright, that enables Revolt. And I guess, like, me targeting myself isn't going to change what I draw, so I should get the info from the opponent. Alright, so unless they're casting a Eladamri's Call... I feel okay. Should I just Battle Rage to hit for 10? Oh wait, Battle Rage kills the opponent here. Because the first strike damage is gonna hit the opponent down to 10, and then the power and toughness of Scourge is gonna be 10, which is lethal. So I'm gonna go for it. Alright, I'm not waiting. If you've got a path as the one card I don't know about, then it's a path. Alright, hit you for 5, hit you for 10. Nice! Beautiful. Great. Working hard for these wins. They've got Karn as their profile pick. Uh-oh. Hopefully it's a juke. Opponent says good luck. Good luck, have fun. Alright, so we've got a lot of things we can do on 1 mana, and we're on the draw. We've got double Shadow. I think I'm keeping. If we're playing against any creature deck, this hand's quite good. Stomping around tapped. Okay, that could mean a number of things. Fetch land? Awesome, awesome. Alright, so I'll lead on the Thoughtseize because that will enable me to fetch shock into a shadow next turn. Maybe even 2 shadows. Looks like Temur Uro. So this Aether Gust's going to be relatively ineffective versus the current draw that I've got going, especially since my threats are shadows. So I'm going to leave that. If the opponent is able to get to Hour of Promise, the zombies are going to be hard to beat from Field of the Dead. So, I mean, it's either Hour of Promise or Bolts. I've got Inquisition in hand, so I think I'm just going to lean towards taking the Hour. It's annoying in that the bolts can deal with my shadows while they're small. My fetch shocking is only going to put me to 12, which means I need to fetch shock again to get them out of the range of the bolts. But I think it's probably fine to just leave them with bolt. Because like bolt is, in the grand scheme of things, not super effective. It's only really going to be effective as long as I let them kill my shadows. So I'll just try my best to not let that happen. Another bolt. Well, I can bolt myself. So if I bolt myself and fetch shock, that has me going down to 9. Which means shadow is a 4/4. They could then double lightning bolt the shadow. Is that something I'm interested in letting them do? Probably not. I mean, like, I could just Inquisition them. I doubt they bolt me in response, but they could. Yeah, I don't think I want them to kill a shadow. I think I'm going to Inquisition them. And then if this resolves, I'll more likely than not just take a lightning bolt. They've drawn Remand. Remand is pretty annoying. I mean, I'll take a bolt. And then I suppose I'll get an Overgrown Tomb. Wait, this only puts me to 12, right? Because I didn't bolt myself quite yet. Alright, so yeah, I guess I'm just getting another Blood Crypt. So I guess I shocked prematurely. Yeah, that's bad. Sorry, I fetched prematurely. Definitely shocking here. I can't hold up Bolt. Yeah, I should not have fetched yet. That's my bad. I guess I'll get another Blood Crypt. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, the fetching now is pretty bad. I guess I'll prioritize my colors over my error. Yeah, so like I could bolt myself. Yeah, it's rough. Maybe Blood Crypt was just right and just forgo the green, because like now I can't really bolt myself on untap and then shadow. So this was just sloppy. Uro. Surprise. So we know their hand excluding what the Uro is hitting. All right. Well, I mean, Peatland's pretty good. That's gonna let me play double a shadow on top of lightning bolting myself. So a bit of an unpunish. Got kind of lucky there. We can play a shadow as a 4/4, and then when we tap this Peatland, our shadows will become 5/5s. That's good. Yeah, and like this Uro is potentially problematic. But we can sacrifice the Peatland to enable the revolt and use the pushes. If I shock the Stomping Ground, I mean, I could just die to getting bolted out if I go to 6, so I think it's probably too risky. I can just tap the Peatland, but that takes me off of being able to kill the Uro from revolting. So I think I'm just going to smack for 10 here. Like, I could potentially do as much as 16 if I shock and pay the life. But the opponent's at 21, so I can always make that play next turn, which means, do I even shock here? Do I just have 2 more points to myself as a surprise? Yeah, I think I like that. Because, like, I've got all the mana to do everything that I want to do. So I guess what I can do here is I can just put Luris into my hand. This means I can't kill the Uro at end step, which is potentially not where I want to be. Like, my Luris isn't even going to be that great here. If they don't really have a good way to actually kill a shadow to make Luris good, like, if they're probably going to, like, tuck it, if anything. So I think I like just holding up the Peatland here. Because, like, if they, like, bolt me or something to be able to escape the Uro, I'm going to want to push on end step. Fact or fiction? Yikes. Alright, well, this isn't actually that good. I guess it's just like this. 2 lands and a leak versus a lot of redraws. I could get Cryptic locked, which would be unfortunate. They don't have the Mystic Sanctuary yet. Tron gives them access, but they've got 2 islands in play. Or they take the lands in the leak. So I mean, if they go land, they can go land Uro here. But I mean, I can I guess shock on my turn. Like, if I fatal push this thing now and they've got Force of Negation, I won't have a way to guarantee enable revolt next turn. Maybe I should have responded to this, because now they could potentially mana leak the first copy of Actually, the way that the opponent has stacked it, they're giving me a window. The issue is if they've got the Force of Negation, I mean, I guess I know most of the hand, and it's not Force of Negation. So I guess I'm going to hope the one card I don't know of isn't that Force. Thoughtseize isn't that bad. Cast, target, Uro. Okay. Mountain, I guess Tarn we knew of as well. So they've got Mana Leak, Remand, Gust, Bolt available. Alright, and then I guess I could Shock, but then I died at Double Bolt. So I guess the safest way to go about this is just to cast Thoughtseize. But that still has me dying to 2 copies of Lightning Bolt. So is there even a way around just getting double bolted? We know the opponent has 1. There's already 1 on the yard. So yeah, there's probably just no safe way to avoid this. I guess I'll just lead on the Thoughtseize. Alright, don't have another Lightning Bolt, please. I think I have to try to kill them here. Uh-oh. I don't think I'm winning a game that goes much farther. Alright, Island means I'm not getting double bolted. Leak. Sure. I will not pay. Alright, and then I can Shock this to grow the shadows. Cool. Alright. Yikes. Alright, so Teamer Uro. Playing against a lot of counter spells, so Veil seems like it's going to be good. Playing against Uro, so Spellbomb seems like it's going to be good. This seems like the matchup for Boyle if there's going to be one. I guess Wildfire is a way to deal with Field of the Dead, but I don't know if that's the axis I'm going to be really trying to fight on. I think it's going to be just these 6. Don't think I want the Kolagon's command. I could see Kroxa being a contender. On the draw, I think I'm going to cut 2 Swift Spears. Seal of Fire really doesn't seem that good. I guess Scourges can be kind of a liability with the opponent gaining so much life. I guess like Dismember really isn't where we want to be because it doesn't really kill anything meaningful, especially Uro. Fatal Pushes at least could. Even so, I think I'm going to shave on a Fatal Push. Because the only real thing that it has to kill is the Uro and then I guess Omnath if they're playing Omnath. But they were fetching and not getting the Jeskai Triome. Is a trophy better than a Fatal Push just because I don't have to have Revolt? I mean, I guess it also has the added bonus of being able to kill a Field of the Dead if that's what we're losing to. So maybe it is just better than a copy of Fatal Push. So I need 2 more cuts here. I mean, against non-combo, I could see taking out 1 Hand Disruption spell, but they're pretty key to our whole plan. 1 more cut. I mean, Battle Rage is probably one of our better cards, just because, again, they don't have a good way to really kill a creature other than bouncing it. Maybe it's just like a Bauble. It feels weird always cutting a Bauble, because it's just such a non-card most of the time. But I mean, it makes the deck tick. Yeah, I'm going to give this a shot. Reveal the Lurrus. Yeah. We need to hit another land, but if we do, this hand's pretty good. We've got the Red and 6, we've got the turn 1 Thoughtseize, we've also got a redraw towards it, and we've got double threat. Seems like about everything we want outside of like a Boil, but we're not even close to that necessarily. Cool, we drew the land immediately. Alright, so I guess I'm going to lead on a Fetch Shock Thoughtseize, as I would really like to clear the way for this Ren and 6. Like, I could do the Scry trick, but I've got a spell that I want to cast here, so say yes. I mean, getting the info really doesn't matter. I could get the info on myself, but I guess I'll hold it for no specific reason. If this wasn't a fetch, I'd pop it on the opponent to get the info on the Thoughtseize. So I guess now I can, just to get the extra info after the fact. Shock? Oh, they got Veil. Okay. Veil is good. As far as I'm aware, these decks tend to play like 1 or 2 of these. So I don't think I'm really gonna go out of my way to play around more copies. Alright, and they did not shock, so no Remand or Mana Leak is good. So I think this is as good a time as ever to attempt a Ren and 6. Like, they could obviously force it. Or Spell Snare it. Alright, so do I want to cast the Bauble now? I think I'll probably still hold it in the case I draw one of my 2 Swift Spears. Be worth an extra point that could come up. Uro? No Uro yet. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is nice. Let's just get this land back now, I suppose. Alright, so I think I want to Thoughtseize now. I could just get down a threat now, but I mean, Thoughtseize pairs pretty well in that regard. Also, like, this is their pre-cryptic turn, so this seems like an okay time. Like, if they leak it, it's unfortunate, but not even by that much. And then between the 2 threats that I'm going to play, it's almost definitely going to be Tarmogoyf, because that one doesn't just fold to Uro, gaining them 3 life. I mean, I guess they have to pay a life. 3 bolts, Cryptic, Factor Fiction. I mean, I think I'm just going to take the Factor Fiction. That's going to dig them towards actual action. Like, Cryptic is good, but it's only a 1-shot. Yeah, I'm going to take the Foth. So, pretty nice to know about all of these bolts. So, if I fetch Shock down to 9 to play the Tarmogoyf, I actually die. So, I think I'm going to get Basic Forest here. Oh, I don't play Forest, but I do play Mountain. I forget that I'm not playing actual, like, traditional Jund. They could double bolt this if they feel so inclined. There is an instant in the yard, so, like, adding the Bauble doesn't actually save it from double bolt, so this seems fine to just keep holding it in the event I draw a Swift Spear. I assume they're getting like a Triome here, yeah. Yield. Alright, well they drew the Forest, which enables Cryptic. Alright, I think I'm just going to lead on an attack. If they feel like bouncing their NN6, that's pretty fine. Like, maybe I should be casting Bubble now, because now it's actually worth damage, right? Because adding Artifact means something, so I think I should have played Bubble by now. So I guess they're about to be able to have Mystic Sanctuary online to start buying things back. So I think casting a Spell Bomb is a pretty safe bait. Like, if they counter it, I'm not ridiculously unhappy, and then I can play another threat. We know they can't Mana Leak it. We've got perfect info on the opponent's hand here. Yeah, that was a thinker. Alright, let's return. Is there any consideration to minusing, targeting the opponent's face? I mean, this is actually just never ultimating, given the opponent's array of lightning bolts. So I think I like getting the damage in. Like, the damage plan is weaker to Uros, but I mean, I've got lands in hand to use, and I kind of just want to get basic swamp here, because then I can play Tarmogoyf and hold up a Spellbomb activation. But I guess I could play Tarmogoyf. I mean, I guess I can play Tarmogoyf and sacrifice this later. Like, this is very likely getting Cryptic, but I mean, Scourge is actually just bigger than the Goyfs. So, I mean, like, if I cast the Tarmogoyf here, they could Cryptic, like, counter bounce, but then they're not drawing a card and their hand is just bolts. Yeah, I'll cast second Tarmogoyf. So, like, counter bounce would be annoying, but not the end of the world. Counter draw, okay. Alright, I think I will fetch now, because I don't want to hold myself hostage to a Mystic Sanctuary. Alright, let's just get some info. Like, I guess if I'm being practical, I should upkeep it. They've got the Uro, jeez. Alright, well, I've got the Spellbomb to deal with the Uro. It's going to shrink my Goyf when the opponent grows their life total, though. Cryptic was used. Yep. The powerful creature. So the hand, still 3 lightning bolts. Alright, let's get the card off of the Spellbomb as well as nuke the Uro. Push, not great. Draw off of Bobble. Okay. I mean, I guess I'm going to lead on attack. They can double bolt still if they'd like. They're not getting much better. I've demonstrated to them that I'm aware that going to 9 could be a death sentence. Yep, there goes bolt number 1. There goes bolt number 2. So minusing the run in 6 now would mean that it dies to the other copy of Lightning Bolt, so I don't think I want to minus. I think I should probably just continue plussing. There's a Mire that I can get back. And then the Scourge is no longer just dead to a single copy of Bolt, so now is probably the time to cast this. And then I'll make sure to just leave this Mire around in case I need to revolt. I mean, we've been whittled down to a single threat. I've still got Lurrus available over here. Maybe this was a good window to get the Lurrus back, so potentially a misplay. Alright, and then I guess I want to just continue taking lands out of the deck now. I've got plenty of ways to revolt. Say no. All of my threats are plenty big at this point. Alright, so by minusing the run in 6 on the opponent first, Scourge actually grows a tiny bit, so I'm going to do that. Alright, and then again, I do have the play of Temur Battle Rage, and I think I'm going to go for it. Because I guess like Cryptic would ruin me, but I can still just replay the Scourge. So the Cryptic is really just a Fog and a 1-for-1 on the Battle Rage. So I mean, I think this is a fine window to go. Because like we know the hand is Bolt and a Mystery. It's a Force. Okay. So I mean, we still get to just hit for 6. Guru Pay Pavga. Thanks for the follow, Guru. Alright, so the hand is just Lightning Bolt. Let's get Lurrus into hand. And then I suppose play a land. We don't actually have any more black sources to fetch and enable the Revolt, so maybe I should just Blood Crypt tapped. Yeah, I'll just Blood Crypt tapped. Alright, so if the opponent blanks here, we got it. Sick. Trophy? Are you there? See, I think the only thing I'm skeptical as far as this deck list goes is like I haven't really found the good use for this Croxa yet. I mean, I guess it's just there if you need an extra threat, like if you're playing against like a mid-range deck or a control deck, really. Like it would have been good versus the control opponent that we just played against. I guess it's got its spots. You won the roll. Reveal the thing. Keeper. Sounds great. We get to have a turn 2 Death Shadow off of the back of paying 8 life between 2 Fetch Shocks and a Thoughtseize. So, I mean, this hand is kind of the nuts. Unless we're playing against a garbage matchup. But, I mean, we won't know until Thoughtseize starts resolving. Okay, and it's Heliod combo. I think I'm taking the Utopia Sprawl. That's just the thing that helps the opponent accelerate the most. Like, I don't want the opponent getting a quick company. I mean, Auriok Champion is going to be annoying. It kind of gets to stonewall all of what we've got going. So maybe for that reason alone, I kind of just have to take the Auriok Champion. I'm just... My first threat is completely blanked by it. I mean, giving the opponent a mana source towards their collected company also makes me nervous. I definitely think it's either the Sprawl or the Champion here. And then, like, the nut draw would just be, like, another Inquisition or Thoughtseize. I mean, I've got removal for whatever comes down the line with the company. So maybe letting them ramp into it isn't, like, a super tragic tragedy. I'm going to take the Champion. Champion is just probably the best main deck card they have versus us. Let them sprawl here. And they've got a shock to do it. I think it's really close. The issue is like I don't think I have a single way to kill this in the main deck. So it's like it essentially is removal for my first threat. And like the time that it's gonna take to find another creature is gonna make this pretty bad. Right, so there goes the Sprawl and the Temple Garden. Okay, so I can now fetch shock Overgrown Tomb. Say yes, puts me to 12, which means Death Shadow is a 1/1. And then I'll probably end up bolting myself. Yeah, I'll probably end up bolting myself. There's the plains. There's the Spike Feeder. I guess I can bolt that. I mean, I think I'm actually just going to end up bolting myself. It's more damage to make the shadow bigger. And then like next turn I can run in 6, fetch shock, getting the land back, and then I can use the Seal of Fire to kill the Spike Feeder. That just like distributes my damage more effectively. Spike Feeder's gone. Swift Spear. I don't think that changes anything. Ren and 6. Let's return a Mire. Use said Mire to get another Blood Crypt untapped. Say yes. And then I'll cast a Seal of Fire. And destroy Spike Feeder. I'm assuming they're gaining 4. Alright, so then from 22, I will knock you to 15. Okay. That's what I got. Alright, so now they've got company up. I'm just going to do it now, see if they can hit combo without me being able to disrupt. Makes some sense. That's good for me. Okay, so I can run in 6, ping the Arbor Elf. I can then cast a Swift Spear, cast a Lightning Bolt targeting the Mentor. They'll gain 2 up to 17. Alternatively, I could get back a land, fetch shock, Swift Spear, bolt the thing, and then play a Tarmogoyf and just really go wide. So I guess like the difference here is, do I want to have a Tarmogoyf in play? Or do I want to have a Tarmogoyf in play or a Bolt in hand? I mean, going wide seems pretty good. This play has me going down to 3, which means I'm not just dead to the Conclave Mentor. Is there a way to do it all? If I minus on this, bolt that. No, there's no way to actually do it all. I think I want the Goyf in play as opposed to a bolt in hand. But I mean, a bolt does disrupt versus the combo in case they like company into it again. But if they company into the combo, I can't have the Mentor living because they'll be able to combo me through since they'll have a Spike Feeder and a Heliod. Because like the Spike Feeder will come in with 3 counters. I mean, they're not really going to have a good way to deal with the Death Shadow. Is Tarmogoyf even lethal if I get it into play? So that route would have me going Lightning Bolt, the Arbor Elf. Or I could just bolt them in. There's like 3 good lines here. So if I go Swift Spear, bolt the Mentor, they go up to 17. I attack for 9. I guess they block the Shadow. That has them going to 13, which means on the next attack, if they have any blocker, the Tarmogoyf isn't even lethal anyway. So I think I'm just going to empty the board by minusing the Ren and 6. Kill that. I will play the Swift Spear. Lightning Bolt the Mentor. Like, I could just play the Tarmogoyf here, but again, I don't want them to company into the combo. Gain 2. Hit for 9. Alright, please don't company into combo. Feeder. Alright, well, I mean, that's forced to block. Is it even? Okay, well, that might make it forced a forced block, because I can go to 10. We're hitting for 11. Yeah, and if they gain 2, that's not quite lethal. Or, sorry, not quite alive. Yeah, and like they can't. They could they block this, gain 2, and survive. This is hitting for 11. Yeah, that would have them surviving. No, it doesn't, because we get to minus the Ren and 6 on them as the last point. So yeah, I think I'm just attacking both here. So yeah, fetch land actually not the worst draw. Path to Exile could mess us up. The opponent is in a spot. We could still just lose to a company. Like if they sack Canopy, they've got 2 looks at it. Alright, yeah, they determined that they need to block. Makes sense to me. Gain 4. Yep. And they still have lots of good draws. Auriok Champion, Collected Company, probably 2 of the better ones. Tarmogoyf. Do I want to minus Threat and 6 for any reason? Like literally just to do a point of damage? It could come up. Yeah, I'll shoot the opponent for 1. Why not? Alright. Here we go. That's what I got. Alright, so we're presenting lethal. If they have the Auriok Champion, Goyf is at least something that attacks past that. Sprawl, that could still mean company. Okay. Alright, so green-white Heliod Company. So the Kozilek's returns are going to be good for killing the devoid creatures. Or sorry, killing the protection from red creatures because it's devoid. Is Kroxa good to pressure the opponent's hand? It might be. I'll put all the possibilities here. They're not a graveyard combo, so I don't think I want this. So I guess I'll bring in Trophy more than likely. Kolaghan's Command, I guess, does something, but it's a bit slow at 3 mana. Don't think I want Wildfire, or the Grudge, or the Boils, or the Veil. So yeah, I mean, I think it's some combination of these 4, possibly Kolaghan's Command. So what are the cuts? I'm on the draw. Swift Spears seem like they're going to get outsized fairly often, so I think I'll shave 2 of those as I've done in the previous matches. Inquisition's good for taking combo pieces, but it doesn't hit company, which is probably one of the more important ones. I honestly just don't like the Kolaghan's Command. It seems a bit slow at 3 mana. Like, the discard a card mode is probably the second most relevant mode, and that mode isn't particularly strong. So, 2 cuts from here. I think I like the Kroxa here. Maybe it is just a bit too slow on the draw. I think on the play it's definitely good enough, but I don't think I can reason to take one of these cards out in order to put a Kroxa in. So I need 1 more cut here. Could just be an Inquisition, but it's pretty good versus fighting combo and like taking their value pieces. Like what's the thing? The 3 mana 3/3 that like searches for a 1 and you can like sack it to silence. I think I'm going to want all the interaction that I can get, given that the opponent is playing a combo deck. Maybe I just cut another Bobble again. Cutting Bobble always just feels so weird. Yeah, let's go. For the trophy. Yeah, this hand's acceptable. We've got a Swift Spear, which is pretty fortunate because that'll enable us to turn on the Scourge. Utopia, yep. Okay, so now I think I'm definitely getting Stomping Ground given I've drawn a Tarmogoyf. Got the basic Swamp in hand already, so Stomping Ground will complete the Tron. Say yes. Cast a Swift Spear. Get in for 1. Rar. Ballista. Indeed. Inquisition. Oh, well, unfortunately, if I Inquisition, it's the only thing that I'm doing. Playing Scourge is probably a liability, because, like, they could, have any of their life gain effects. But, I mean, Scourge has the potential to grow the fastest. Yeah, I mean, Scourge is a risk, but I think it's a risk I'm going to take here. If I attack, do they block? Can I, like, Mai's 1 point of damage? Like, what are the combinations of things that I could have that would make them not want to block? Like, double bolts they know I can't have because I've got a swamp. If I have a push and plans on pushing this, there's just, like, not many things that I could have. Because, like, if I attack here and they think I might play as Battle Rage, like, they'd probably just take that trade. Alright, let's cast a 3/3 and hope that they don't blow me out by gaining life. And I think my best draw step is probably just fetch land to enable a revolt for the pushes and just deploy some more threats, possibly cast an Inquisition. Just gonna see if they can company into it now. And if they do, they do. Opponent says, ha. Is that the only hit? Oh, yeah, it is. Fetch land? There are 10 hits of those. Not quite. That's a good one, though. That will enable us to play a pretty... actually, we can't actually play Shadow yet anyway. Go paying 4 life gets us to 13, which makes Shadow be 0/0, and that is not enough. I mean, I guess I could just dismember the Ranger Captain and then Fatal Push the Conclave Mentor. A little dangerous. I'm going to have to remember that killing this is actually going to put them at 1, which means I'm only hitting them for 1 with the Scourge, but it'll regrow after my things actually hit them. So yeah. Do I want to clear the creatures, or do I want to, like, cast the Dismember and an Inquisition? I know it takes Ballista at a minimum, but I think I like clearing the board, because that makes my creatures so much better, and it could potentially just put them on the back foot. Yeah, I think I'm clearing the board. Alright, so we'll Dismember, targeting a Ranger Captain. They'll sacrifice it in response, and then in response I'll cast my my Fatal Push. Alright, so they're going to go up to 19, so Scourge isn't dying. Hit for 4. Set Scourge up to a 5/5. And that's what I got. You gonna combo? I mean, if you combo, you combo. Auriok Champion. Spike Feeder. Can I get Kozilek's Return? Kozilek's Return doesn't do it. I don't have the 3rd land. Silly me. Not great. If I cast a spell, I can get an attack in for 2, but that's probably worse than just putting another creature into play. Ballista as a 2/2 to kill a creature isn't really a play the opponent can profitably make, so I'm probably just casting Tarmogoyf here. They can't Revolt to kill Spike Feeder, unfortunately. And, like, Tarmogoyf is actually a decent attacker past the Auriok Champion, so I think it's just that. Like, I could Inquisition here and to fight combo, but they had 5 mana. So, like, I'm assuming if they had the combo, they'd have just killed me. I guess they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough to Spike Feeder and Heliod. So if the one card I don't know about is exactly Heliod, then I would die. Is it worth the risk? I think it is. Funny thing I hadn't considered is now the opponent can kill the Scourge if they want to essentially sacrifice their Spike Feeder. But I don't think they want to sacrifice their Spike Feeder because that's like half of their instant kill. So like if they go to if they Ballista, they could gain 1 up to 17, and then they could like go up to 21 by removing both counters off the Spike Feeder to kill my Scourge. But that doesn't seem like something they would be interested in. Ballista for 3. That's a play you can make. Yep. That's something I can Fatal Push even without Revolt. Fetch land? The only land I don't want. So I can't Shadow here. Inquisitions don't do anything. The opponent is Hellbent. So, I mean, I guess I'm going to lead on Fatal Push and then see what the opponent does. And if they're going to kill a creature, they have to kill Swift Spear exactly now. And they almost don't want to shoot me with the last point because that could grow... That could enable me to play a Shadow. I guess they don't know that they know that I don't have a Black Source quite yet. Yeah, they just shoot it at the Goyf. Alright, so they are still Hellbent. I do have an attack for 4. Auriok Champion is not pro-green. So I can get 4 in here. They can block if they want, but I don't think they're interested. I guess I'll play the land. Funny, this is the one land that like just doesn't do it. Any fetch does it, any of the shocks do it. I guess Stomping Ground doesn't. Alright, well that doesn't do it. Utopia Sprawl is probably the best draw the opponent could have for me. And again, the Auriok Champion just like straight stonewalls the Scourge. My nut draw now is Kozilek's Return. That's an instant win. 2 out of 47 for an instant win. Boom. Give me the trophy. Show me the Kozilek's Return. Show me the Kozilek's Return. I guess it's not actually an instant win. They could remove counters to gain life, and then they could still company into a kill. So even a Kozilek's Return isn't a determined win. I got a lot of bots in the chat today. Kozilek's Return. Kozilek's Return. Y'all better be chanting at home. I need the energy. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Come on, opponent. Kozilek's Return. I haven't used my one time yet this league. I've had some good draw steps, but I never called for them. So I'm gonna use my one time. One time. Come on. Ugh. Goif. I mean, that's at least an additional threat. Like, if the opponent doesn't block right now, they're gonna have to start blocking as early as next turn. So I mean, that's better than, say, another black card. Is there a reason to put an Inquisition in my yard? Probably not. Alright. You gain 1. Can I get lucky again? Oof. Oops. That's a good one. Alright, there goes a Goif. I mean, I've still got a good attack with the other Goif. Kozilek's return. Kozilek's return. Kozilek's return. Bobble. There's already artifact. I guess I should do this on the opponent's upkeep. Actually, there's no good way to time this, right? Because like I want to be able to hit a fatal push and like actually be able to push something. So there's no good timing. I mean, whatever I see with the bobble, it isn't gonna change the attack. If they want to triple block, I am all for it. Yeah, they're not gonna. I guess I should do it now, because if I find a fatal push, there's a world where something ends up getting revolted. Yeah, I'll do it now. Land on top, please. Not a company. Okay, it's a land. All right. Peatlands. Okay, that lets me play the shadow. Alright, they played the forest. Yeah, that Skyclave was a very good draw, but it wasn't quite what was needed. And Goif's a 5/6 now, so the opponent has to start blocking. Alright, well, Fetch Shock means that Shadow is turned online. Or sorry, Goif is only a 4/5. Can I add a type in any way? We've got Artifact, Instant, Creature... Artifact, instant, creature, land. So actually, casting Inquisition adds sorcery. So that would make Tarmogoyf lethal threat, which means they have to start blocking. Right, okay. Opponent says absurd. I agree. Alright, how do you want to block? You've got to. Alright, makes some sense. You want to keep the combo piece and your Auriok champion. I'll make a 2/2, which is blue. Another thing that gets past Auriok champion. I can now go to 10, play a shadow, yet another threat. Do I want it to be Overgrown Tomb? Is there any reason to have second green? I mean, I guess it'll be Overgrown Tomb. Overgrown Tomb is kind of just free here. We'll say yes. Cast a shadow. Alright, I need to get lucky again. Company is really good for the opponent. They drew Misty? Jeez. I don't think I've got a lethal attack. But things are going to have to block. Another shadow. I guess I should probably just sacrifice Peatland first to see if I can kill him now. And then I guess the better land to tap is Basic Mountain. Bolt. That should do it. So how do I time this? If I just kill the Spike Feeder now, they go up to 11 off of gaining the life. And then I guess they block the Scourge, and am I doing 11 damage otherwise? I'm doing 10. It's 1 off. So what if I just attacked all? They would put Auriok Champion in front of the Scourge, take 5, 7. It's still lethal. They have to block. Can they put? So when is the good timing here? So if I attack all, they put Auriok Champion in front of the Scourge. They have to block these. So yeah, Scourge is lethal on its own, so it has to be blocked. So if they want to keep Spike Feeder alive, they're putting Auriok Champion, which means they have to block this anyway. Because it would be 5, 7, 10. They could gain 4. I think the right time I think the right timing on this is attack first. Because again, if I bolt the Spike Feeder, they just go up to 11, block the Scourge, and then take 10. So like they both end up the same way, but at least this route means I could potentially just kill them if they don't block. So yeah, I think I'm attacking first. Because if they don't block with a Spike Feeder, they die. That has to go there. That has to go there. Okay, so now they're going to take 5. So now they have to company into a kill, is their route to victory. Does bolting myself do anything? No, that's the same as bolting them. Shadow would be a 6. Oh wait, no, that does... No, because yeah, this was blocked, so they would take only 8. It's not lethal. So I'll go to damage. They have their Auriok Champion. I guess I'm playing another Shadow. As a 3/3, you'll gain 1 up to 7. So you go. So now I've got a Bolt to disrupt combo if they like company into it somehow. Company. I mean, they drew soft for a while. Fate had to give them a good one. Heliod, Mentor. So that'll gain a life. They can then choose to put a counter on something. Okay. It gets 2 counters, yeah. Oh, I guess I should have bolted this in response. Is it going to end up mattering? I hope not. So bolting this will have them gaining 2. They can then put another counter onto Auriok Champion. They can give Auriok Champion lifelink. So they're at a virtual 14. Alright, that probably does it. Because that's an additional 6 points of power between the shadows. So I attack all, they give Auriok Champion lifelink. They're blocking this. They gain 4 up to 14. Yeah, it should be lethal. Blood Crypt untapped. Oh, they're giving my Shadow lifelink. Does that matter? Yeah, because they gain life. Does this work? Well, I'm going to learn something. So these are gonna negate each other. These are gonna negate each other, which means they're taking only 7, right? Is that how that works? No, like no matter what I do here, they're negating each other. Because they're gonna gain life. Oh, I'm gonna gain life. Oh, my shadows are gonna die. This was a really good play from the opponent. So I guess I say no. Like no matter what I do, shadow dies when it has lifelink. Oh, wait. Okay, so I need to review the rules on how that works. But yeah, okay. So yeah, trophy. Cool. I'm going to have to review the rules on that because I in my head when damage was going to resolve, it wasn't going to work out for me. So yeah, I just got to look at that again. But yeah, the deck actually ended up trophying. Pretty sweet. So I guess for purposes of the recording, I'll do a deck tech / wrap up. Again, this is not my deck. I referenced the person at the beginning of the league. I forgot their name, and I took out the I deleted. I X'd out of my window that had the name on it. I think I have it in my. I think I labeled it in Mana Traders with the deck maker's name. I want to give him credit one more time. There it is. Zio Francone. Ziofrancone. So this is their exact list, and it did pretty well for us, getting us the trophy. I really like playing the Monastery Swift Spears, especially as a way to more consistently turn on the Scourges. I think it happened exactly once in this particular league, where Swift Spear into Scourge was our curve. The Battle Rages felt great. The Renin 6s felt really good. I was skeptical of the Renin 6s just because it's not exactly like the aggro, one of the more aggro-y cards, but it does do pretty well, ensuring that we're able to double spell consistently on following turns, as well as keeping the fetches and shocks coming to continue growing our shadows. Tarmogoyf also just a really great generic beater, which is pretty much what this deck is looking to do, because like most of the time this deck plays the role of the beatdown deck. So I really like the 16 card threat package, again, 4 Tarmogoyf, 4 Scourge, 4 Swift Spear, 4 Death Shadow, the namesake. The baubles were good. Luris as a companion did pretty well. I think 3 or 4 games we ended up casting Luris, and I think in those 3 or 4 games, about 2 of them I think we won because of the advantage that Luris provided. I used pretty much every card in the sideboard, or at least brought it in at least once. I never got to effectively use the Ancient Grudge, the Kroxa, or the Boils. But I think I brought everything in at least once, so I can definitely see this sideboard being good. I don't know how much testing the deck creator did to actually build this list, but all in all, it felt really, really smooth, and I'm happy with it. Not sure exactly what I'd change. I'd really have to think on it. But yeah, the deck felt really, really good and gave us a pretty good result. We got that trophy. So all in all, pretty solid. I like it a lot. So that's going to be it for this recording. I'm going to hang out for a little bit after I turn off the recording to talk some Jund Shadow and maybe answer some questions. So if you're not already following me here on Twitch, you definitely should. It's a great free way to support what I do. And all of my leagues, including this one, are uploaded to my YouTube channel. You'll find the name of my YouTube channel on the bottom left of your current screen. So with that said, I'm going to stop the recording there. And for those of you watching this on YouTube, have a good one.